And there we go. Indeed, greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me again on another video. I do always appreciate your presence. Let's meld more into being. Like this today, I want to actually tell you the title that I added for the stream. It says, "Don't stain it with fantasy. All you need to do is melt, you see." Like the second part is what I added, as a little bit of an artistic touch, if you will. But the first part was what a friend of mine said, Christian. We just finished a chat. He called me while I was getting ready to shower. He called me while I was getting ready to shower, and then I was like so frantic trying to get ready and like get into the zone that I'm usually in. I was like a little bit distracted. He was like, "Dude, you know what? I'll call you back. Damn it. I'll call you back like after you finish showering." And then that was like basically 3:30, and we talked just until now. And like the conversations me and him have with each other. Hey, Scarmelia, hey there. I think I managed to get here first. I think it's a first for you to be here first as well, Scarmelia. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Anyway, and we were just having like chats about, like, we have these really fun chats sometimes about, these ridiculous scenarios that we might find ourselves in, and that we would save each other. We would be there for each other regardless of these things. And we were talking about just how fantastic technology and the opportunity to meet each other was, because we were just like tripping out about the fact that we were talking on a phone, microphone turns like what I'm saying into ones and zeros. These ones and zeros gets processed by his phone. It like ejects through his little speaker the sounds that I'm making with my voice almost in like real time. That sound is like adding vibrations to the air. That air hits his ears. That ear vibrates the little bones in it, turning it inevitably again into binary. And then as a result of that, it gets processed in his brain. And like we take these things for granted. We have so much just fantasticitude of life, and yet we're like, oh, look at how bad this thing is, or look at how sad this and this is. Life is fantastic, like, and especially life with friends. If you spend life with genuine friends, it just grows in its fantastitude, if you will. I want to make up words today. Fantastitude is a new word. It has been done. Kiki is playing with an avocado pit. I think avocado pits should be better than the actual avocado. Sean absolutely loved Mord. He read the letter and gave me a big hug. I'm so happy to hear that, Scarmelia. That sounds beautiful. Happy Saturday to both of you. Thank you so much, Yader. Happy Saturday to you as well, my friend. Man, I feel so energetically charged just from having that conversation with my friend. We're going to do a podcast basically directly after today's stream as well. And it's like, man, I just love this dude. I love him so freaking much. Just the things we can explore and like can imagine as well. So like, I'm not sure if I should be telling you, but I'll tell you anyway. The conversation we had, we were like going into extremes of like, if one of us had to get lost, right? The most extreme of getting lost he could think of was like if one of us had to end up in hell, right? Like actual hell. He was like, dude, if me and you were, or if one of us were to end up at hell, we'd probably like spend our soul's journey to try and save each other from this like hellscape. And as soon as we meet up together, we would just like wreak havoc in hell as well, try and make it a better place, just for the sake of making even hell a better place as well. And having these conversations, like I imagine it in my mind's eye, and it makes me just so freaking happy to be genuine with a friend. To be genuine with you, friends, at the end of the day. I just realized you were Meltmore, Lamal. Yeah, dwarf. I'm Meltmore. Like, how long has it been since you've not known, friend? I am so bad at technology. Have you heard about Meltmore? But you were like, who is this Meltmore character that they're talking about? And meanwhile, you've been watching this whole time. Oh, Harley is like carpet bombing us with love, it seems. Oh yes, there's another one coming through. Vintique Bug is here as well. Morning Melt, good to see you shining self out here. I'm happy to have you here as well, my friend. Thank you for joining us, Harley. Harley, you're gonna make me blush with all of this love that you're sending me. You know what's really interesting, Harley? Like, the first times that I saw your stream was when, like, I was going through a real interesting period of synchronicity. And the numbers that I kept seeing was like either 42 or 44 or 144. And it was like over and over and over and over again. And then like I found your stream and I kind of stopped and I said hi. And I think like the first time you freaked out and I was like, this is such a like a cool person, and I gave you a follow. And when I clicked on your little profile, it opened up and I was like blasted in the face again with like, look, 144. Like, okay, universe. Like, I don't know if you actually set that little number intentionally. Does it mean something to you? Or is it self-generated or auto-generated? I love that. Make the best of where you are. Make the best of where we are. Look at her. Her pit that she's eating. You want this? You want this? Is that what you want? At least she has a chew toy now. Look at my dirty fingers. So to some of you friends, this might come as a surprise. To some of you friends, you already know I'm only mildly obsessive with keeping my hands clean. Just like mildly obsessed about it. Like I know now they're not clean. There's still micro debris on my fingers. But I'm now thinking about it like, okay, instead of being she's biting my pashminas again. Instead of thinking about it from a perspective of like, oh, like this is not a bad thing because I'm dirty, I'm thinking of it like this is not technically becoming, look at her, los. This is a good thing. It's becoming a part of me. I love you too, Harley. How's it, mate? Ik ga goed, man. Het gaat goed met mij, dank je. Het gaat met jou. I cannot win with this little monster, can I? I think the cosmos just aligned perfectly that day. Thank you for the faith in humanity restored. Poppies is so cute. She is cute, but she doesn't let me be. She doesn't let me be. Don't you want to lay down a little bit? Baby Doge? Don't you just want to lay down? Little bitch? Like if I hold on to her a little bit, she'll want to escape. Have I brainwashed her? Now she's going for my sandals. Man, should have seen this coming. Okay, she's back again. I had a real trauma last night. My inside cat escaped outside, but in the end had a fight with a massive tomcat. And I heard him 3 hours having the fight, ran out and got him. I'm happy that you could save your cat's life, Dwarf, if he was in danger of having his life taken. And an indoor cat that went outdoor and then he got challenged. The stuff that she's putting on my fingers by chewing on them. Now she's I cannot win. Shantai! Papa! Wessel! Lost my pashmina. Like this one, I've like this okay. Again, yesterday, her putting holes in my pashmina. I wasn't feeling. Can you all weg alsjeblieft? Say too much. You see, this is me. Like this, I did this with my excessive dancing. I like ripped it apart accidentally. And then yesterday, she starts ripping my other pashmina apart. And I'm like tripping. I'm like, dude, I already like wrecked one of my pashminas. And now she's wrecking another one of mine. Can we not, please, little monster? 3-hour fight. He's a scraper. He will be okay. I have faith. I mean, if he can like continue to fight for 3 hours, like I don't think there's a lot of things that I can do for 3 hours straight. So he's an absolute machine. He's gonna be okay, Dwarf. I'm sure. Kiki sending you calm vibe to chill with us. Rest, my friend. Yeah, fortunately, I could like shout or yell for help from my sister. She came in clutch. Oh, wait a second. I think I left my tweezers. Man, Bo Burnham has been stuck in my head all day. all day, dude. Like, I'm not complaining because it's really catchy. Welcome to the internet. Take a look around. Man, it's so good. I love that song so much. I was singing it on the way to the shower. And my little brother is like, "Did you watch that movie?" And I wouldn't have taken my brother up as someone that would actually watch something like Inside by Bo Burnham. And then we kind of like had a little bit of a bond session over the fact that we both watched Inside and that we both actually appreciate Bo Burnham as an artist. And we're like, what? What would have known? No, he had a fight. I heard 3 hours after he got out, but he must have been attacked earlier because the big Tommy was in the yard the whole time. I was searching for my cat. Must have been hiding. Okay, I'm happy that you found him though, dwarf. What kind of dog is she? Jack Russell? Oh, poor baby. She is a Jack Russell. She is. Like, she just doesn't stop. Yesterday, I felt the most distracted and most almost like in judgment of myself because I was distracted. And then as I was distracted, I was feeling like I couldn't articulate as well, or I couldn't express myself in the way that I was trying to. And it was just a very weird feeling for me. He wasn't fighting for 3 hours. I would have heard that. I saw the beginning of Bo Burnham's special and didn't watch the rest. You didn't watch the rest because you didn't want to? Or because you were like, you watched it and you were like, I'll watch it later? Or was it like you started watching and you're like, nah, this is gonna be ass. Not for me. Because I also sometimes make snap judgments like that, right? Like you watch something for 10 seconds and you're like, do I want to keep watching this? And then sometimes you don't. Hey, Sugar Liz, thank you for joining us, friend. It's been nice. Like I feel like I want to know more about you, Node. You know, like even more. Like now that I'm in this loop of asking you about your life. What do I want to know? What do I want to know? What inspires you, Liz? What inspires you? Like, feel free, Harley, feel free, Dwarf, feel free, Yater, to answer this question as well. What inspires you, friends? I feel like it says a lot about. I shouldn't necessarily say that because now you're gonna maybe be in like a place of judging yourself about your answer, but I feel you can find out a lot about a person by asking them a simple question like that. You know, what inspires them? What inspires you, friends? I'm really curious. Our pup is Jack Russell, and Wiener Dog mix. Jack Russells are brilliant. Train her, she will absorb it. We're training her, Harley. We're training her. Like it's just hard. It is hard. I'm a little bit of a softie. Like I don't want to be disciplining her, but it's also not realistic for me to not discipline her at all. I think I would be doing her an injustice. Like this is something that Jordan Peterson said that really resonates with me. Like teach your kids how to be likable, right? And the same thing goes for your dogs as well. Like if they're not likable, then you're doing them a disservice at the end of the day. Yeah, I didn't know. I just couldn't handle Bo Burnham's accent, Lamal. Love inspires me, I think. That's a beautiful answer, Dwarf. Does Burnham have an accent? Like, this is the thing for me as well. I don't actually have an ear for accents. Like, I have a real hard time distinguishing whether or not someone has an accent. It kind of just sounds like English to me. If you're speaking another language, then I'm gonna have a hard time. But if you're speaking English, then I'm like, oh wait, dude, speaking English. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that English is my second language as well. But who knows? Who knows? Nature, I guess. Nature is a good inspiration as well. Love is definitely my inspiration. Now I feel like I'm supposed to answer the question as well. Maybe we should write the inspiration down. What is my ultimate inspiration? I think nature is such a good answer. But I feel divine mind. You know, like we have mind inside of ourselves, and we have this capacity to imagine things. So imagine if you had such a divine mind that not only could you imagine things, but in the act of imagining them, you literally materialize them into physical form, right? Like that is just something like small, probably, that the divine mind would be completely capable of. And that to me is like such an inspiration. So divine mind, divine mind. Like I've been been practicing holding this idea of the all is mental, capital M, mental slash mind. And it's been interesting, at least, seeing how I think about things based on that assumption about things, if you will. That's why most of my life I have been a carer, i.e., a mother, and then a carer for my sisters, and a carer for my mother. I think I was just raised that way. No, no, I am alone, and I have to start over and just focus on me. It's hard to find that inspiration. Yeah, it really is, my friend. Like we rarely spend time with ourselves. Think about it. How long before you pick up your phone in the mornings? How long do you spend awake after you have turned it off? Like sometimes we do roll around, right? But like before we actually go and lay down, and since we stand up, we're constantly in this pursuit of distracting ourselves. All right, running away. Like even in caregiving, even as a carer, you can also run away from yourself. And I've noticed that within inside of myself as well, especially. I feel that's where like meditation's power really lies, just in this understanding. And instead of doing anything else, you're just going to be spending time with yourself. So, if I can suggest anything, Dwarf, that would be it. What is your first language? My eerste taal is Afrikaans, my vriend. Ek het geleer Afrikaans praat by my ouers. En toe ek omtrent so 6 jaar oud was, nee, 5 jaar oud was, het ek hierdie vriend ontmoet. Nie regtig 'n vriend gewees nie, meer soos 'n buurman, 'n ver weg buurman wat net Engels gepraat het. I should probably tell this story in English if you want to understand it. But I was like speaking Afrikaans, as my first language, as the language that my parents taught me, basically. And I was like a very explorative and just a curious kid. And we had like this little bit of a backyard sort of thing, like more undeveloped plots for houses, but it was like a big backyard as a result of that. And I would like walk down in this plot, and it would be attached to other houses. And I got all the way down, and I saw this, and I was like riding my bike, and I saw this other boy riding his bike, like up and down in their little street. And I went up to him, and I was like, "Hello, what's your name? Hello, what's your name?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak Afrikaans." And I was like, wait a second, this being doesn't understand me. Like I think of him as the same as me, right? He's just a kid, but yet he doesn't understand me. And I was like, I need to learn how to speak English. And then, like, I kind of just went with it from there, if you will. I think for Melt, it's togetherness. Togetherness is another one as well. And like the thing is as well, in the divine mind, right? If you think of everything as divine mind, there is no separation. Like there is only togetherness. Because how would you be separate from that thing? And you can think of it like even further. If you don't want to think of it as this divine mind, just think of the entire universe. We're a part of that, right? We can't be separate from that. If this is divine mind, this will be togetherness because of you, Harley. Togetherness within the divine mind. Mm. Togetherness tastes good. Ooh, man. Quietness. What a vibe. This is a tough one. I agree with nature and love. It is a tough one, isn't it, Yater? I'm Australian, so sometimes Australian accents on TV grind on me hard. I can imagine. I don't think Bo Burnham is Australian, though. I think he's like 100% American. I think growth is a motivator for me. Being the best version of myself. Constant self improvement, Yater. The all or nothing, right? The extremes. The mixing of love and nature and humankind togetherness. That's so beautiful, Harley. I'm a happy, like, so this is a trip to me, right? Because what you basically answered was, in a way, your representation in your mind of me. You were simulating at least my mindset, or maybe just me in general, and kind of asking that simulation what its inspiration would be, right? And what do you think that is? If not the divine mental mind. I think life and death inspire me too. Like the fact that literally everything is alive, but things also die all the time. So, we think of things as dead, right? Inanimate. But nothing technically is. If you go down far enough, you'll find vibrating little atoms, even in something as dead as a rock, right? We're not separate from that, friends. Nothing is dead. It's tough for me to find inspiration for myself now that I am not caring for others, but I will probably get a job doing some kind of customer service, so that will most probably be similar to a giving role. Customer service. Do you feel like you are in a lack, not having someone to take care of, my dwarf friend? Like, do you feel like there is something missing because you can't help people? I've worked in customer service before, but I have a caregiver as well, and it was a bit too much. Just focus on work and then relax at home on my own will be a change. Change is good, friend. Change is the only constant at the end of the day as well. Shout out to Saul, Richard, and Tan Mom. Have a Baba Booey morning. Ak ak. Famous jester. I'm guessing that's a jest that you've made there, but shout out to them nonetheless. Love and light to them. Ak ak. Indeed. Thank you for being here, Katie. It's nice to have you, my friend. When I was going through the life change, this life change, their life change, it was only a couple of months ago that my mom left. I went through a big mental change to now being not a carer anymore after basically all my life. Reddit was here for me to entertain me. Reddit is great help. It really is. Like, and I feel this part of Reddit is almost like, I want to say too good to be true, but I don't like that word or that string of words because it's not too good to be true. It is true. But the fact that Reddit technically is like this anonymous like platform where people can just kind of say to each other whatever they want, and yet we choose to say loving things to one another, that just makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. We are powerful beings, friends. Us here in our pan. Thank you for the help, oh Katie. Have I seen you stream lately, Katie? How long has it been since you've streamed last, actually? You don't sound Australian to me. I can really like up the Australian a little bit, you know. Hey mate, you wanna throw some shrimp on the barbie? I don't know how much I can speak like this, but guess I can try, right? No, I feel like I kind of eased into like a little bit of a British there as well. I'm super bad with accents. I guess there would be a way to get good. People think I'm a bit nuts even at work because I enjoy doing customer service. I don't think you're nuts, friend. You like interacting with other human beings. Like people just don't like doing that all the time is because they don't necessarily have the faculties or energy to do so. Because it can be exhausting, right? If you're taking care of the needs of others, if you will. It can be something that's exhausting. But that's why we're light beings. We try and help others. Whatever Bo Burnham is, his accent grinds on me real bad. It's okay, my friend. Like, I'm very sorry for you, actually, like genuinely, dwarf, that you can't get past the accent because like the work of art that he made just with like Inside and all like these other two specials as well that he's made, and his musical talent is absolutely fantastic. Like that's the real thing that like is grinding on me, if you will. The part of Reddit is a lovely piece of the internet. I am super grateful for it. Me too, Yater. It's almost yeah, again, I won't say it's too good to be true. It's like it baffles me. I feel that's a better one. It absolutely baffles me just how wonderful it is. You sound very South African to me. I'm happy that my accent doesn't grind your gears too much, my dwarf friend. Are you in England? Cause his white lol. We got me. Got me with your funny jokes. Yeah, you'll drop out. Oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. Good morning, friend. Have a fantastic day. Thank you, Tate. Thank you, friend. How long has it been since I've last seen you? I feel like it's been a month. Might have been more than a month. I guess I have to light this eventually. Mm. Divine Mind. The infinite of which I am a part. The infinite of which I am a part. Hot diggity damn. It's been too long, friend. It's nice to have you here. Let's puff indeed. We're smoking with the intention of the divine mind, dude. Like realizing, thinking, fantasizing, fathoming the divine mind. Oh, he's smoking upon the devil's lettuce. Yes, I am, Yale dropout. Smoking upon. Man, I am smoking upon weed. Can you say it like that? Is that the correct grammar? It does have a like nice ring to saying it. He is smoking. Like I think you can, right? If you're smoking upon something. Stumbled upon something as well. I stumbled upon the stream while he was smoking upon some weed. Does that work? Like I'm genuinely asking now. Please do help me, friends. English still is my second language. A smoke pot. Yeah, Yale dropout. If you want to, you can. If you have the right intentions to, especially. I'm sending you love, Yale dropout. I'm trying to form a picture in my head. I'm imagining you as like a dude, not overweight, but like maybe a little bit uncomfortable. Like you have black hair, at least in like the mind's image I'm creating of you. And I'm seeing you like sitting on like either like a recliner type couch or like a normal just soft couch. And you're like kind of eased back. You have your phone in your hand and like the roof opens and there's just like this flow of beautiful divine light that just washes over you. Sending you love, my friend. Feasting upon jazz cabbage. Yes, the jazz cabbage. Interestingly enough, no, is it? No. I have one strain that's called iced cabbage. Iced cabbage. It's so interesting to me how different just the smoking experience, the smell, the actual bud structure of each and every single one of the different strains can be. Uncle Becky is calling. I'm receiving his call, friend. What's your first language? Afrikaans is my eerste taal, dwarf. Dwergie. That's our word for dwarf, as a dwergie. Man, this is really putting me into an introspective spiral, if you will. I'm thinking about things that don't make sense in my brain. I'm trying to figure out, just what the scale or the complexity of a mind has to be that has the capacity to make things seem physically real. Because our brain cells fire as well, right? In ones and zeros, technically. It's either excited or it's not excited. And instead of it being like a normal, so like there's a bunch of different ways of understanding the way that computers process things. Usually it was a case of we started making a single core processor faster and faster and faster, which meant it could process like a larger string of ones and zeros faster and faster and faster. And then we kind of hit a ceiling with doing that, so we started doing multi-core processors. So instead of just running all of the ones and zeros through a single core, we started running them through individual cores, right? And our brains on that like understanding scale is like this million, probably billion processor computer. And the trippy part about it as well is that when it fires in certain patterns, like when some ones and zeros are being excited instead of other ones and zeros being excited, there's like a like an either a profound or a down experience, right? The fact that that is something that's just constantly going on inside of our heads. We don't know anything about the brain. That's the craziest part. In this complex universe that we kind of look out upon, the most complex thing is right behind our eyes. Doesn't that trip you out? The most complex thing in this universe, with my ignorant mind saying this because I don't know of anything more complex, and that is just my ignorance speaking on its own, is the mind. And it probably goes on like that forever, right? Like I think if we think of our minds as complex, how complex the mind of a species has to be that has been a civilization for billions of years, right? Their average waking thought is like a petafold more complex than my most complex thought. Yeah. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Damn, bro, you look zooted. All of it, though. Dude, I'm smoking with a little bit of a serious intention, and I feel like it is zooting me up more than I anticipated it would. I think it's the dope making you introspect. It is the dope that is making you introspective. Probably dwarf. The ghosts disagree. That means it's good. Exactly. Fractals everywhere, THC Sam. Fractals literally freaking everywhere. Where we can see fractals, we just don't have the capacity to see fractals. So, like, I look at my hand, right, and I can kind of think of the little, what do you call them, fingerprints, little lines on my hands, right, as fractals as well. And then I can kind of go down to my skin layer and look at how the cells kind of build that up, fractal. And then I can go down to the very molecules, the very proteins that kind of make up these cells, fractals. And then I can go down to the molecule level, fractals. Go down to the atomic level, fractals. Go down to the subatomic level. Oh, freaking fractals, dude. Just keeps going. All the way up and all the way down. Our entire galaxy is this beautiful swirl of a fractal. And we're just like living in this. And we're like, let's kill each other because of war. You know what I'm thinking right now? Like I'm thinking, why is there war in the divine mind of God? And the answer that comes up in me is because it's entertaining. And that hurts me. Like just like saying that out loud even, that really hurts me, dude. Like I don't want it to be in that way, but I am not nearly equipped to be able to form any sort of judgment with something like that. Right? And it's in that realization that I kind of find that judgment is something that I don't even I don't even realize how much there is to judge. Never mind how much I am trying to judge something that it might be a single moment when everything is an infinitude of flow. Right? Whoo! Divine mind is kicking my ass. Oh, smoking out with you. Cheers. Thank you, friend. Send me your energy. I'm feeling you, man. I'm happy that you're enjoying it as well, friend. Thank you for joining me in this journey. Hey, bro, what strains you smoking? It's interesting, dude. Like that is really interesting that you had to add an S to that question because I actually do have two strains in this joint today. I'm smoking some what I've called best CBD because it's the most beautiful plant that I had that was supposed to be CBD, but it's definitely not. And the other one I'm smoking is orange sherbet. And I also have some iced cabbage, and I also have some plants that turned out really purple, which I don't think is the same genetics as the one I'm smoking right now. If the brain was simple enough for us to understand, then we'd be too simple minded to understand it. Yeah, quite literally. That's the irony of it. And the thing is, as well, we don't even understand rat brains. Like, not really. We're doing some really cool studies as of late that is opening up a lot of questions to life in general and how we're perceiving life right now in this moment. So we were talking about it a little bit at the end of yesterday's stream about ooh, like I'm getting a little bit bamboozled by Boom or Doom because he's just typing the divine ratio in chat 1.618. 1.618 is the ratio at which they becomes like this spiral. And you can see it pretty much everywhere in nature as well, including our entire galaxies. Oh yeah, I found my point again. So these studies have been, basically, I hope that you know. If you're interested in these topics, you already know about this. But they recently did studies on mice where they could test the brain fluids of live mice. And in analyzing these fluids, they found that not only is DMT being produced constantly in the mammalian brain, it is produced at quantities at equal or higher than other, like what we think of as essential neural chemicals. Is it neural chemicals alone? There's a word for it that I'm probably forgetting right now. Anyway, so like DMT is found in our brains at natural levels of higher than dopamine, or about half to like 70% of our serotonin in our brains. That is not something we can just kind of like gloss over and ignore. Like that changes almost fundamentally everything about the way we think about our own brains. You know, like we've known for a long time that DMT is produced endogenously in the body, and we found it in blood and like urine. But it was in such low doses that we kind of assumed that it didn't really serve a function or it wouldn't be psychoactive. But the thing is, our bodies don't actually want to excrete that much. It's like a precious resource. It's like, no, keep it. And in our brains, it's an abundance. There's so much of it. And they've been doing studies as well. Like Joe Dispenza has been like going hardcore on this stuff as well. Like I would love to know what that dude knows about humans, because like I know like I don't know anything, like not even like a smidge of information compared to what you should know. But basically, they've done studies, like controlled studies, where they were testing the gene expressions of people as a control beforehand. Then they took them through meditation, basically actively meditating and realizing that they have like these chemicals inside of themselves. They have cortisol, they have dopamine, they have serotonin. And then by knowing about these things, could upregulate the expression of the genes. And they could like do it to like upwards of 1% of like change or something like that. Like the highest it was supposed to be was something like 0.0088%. And then someone like managed to get like up to like 1% of change within like I think 6 weeks of working on this like active gene expression as a mindset. It's crazy. So like think about it in this way. Like if I'm not making a lot of sense about why I'm excited about this, instead of like thinking about these endogenous like substances as these drugs, and something to be avoided, we could quite literally and already do produce something that is the most potent psychedelic on our planet, you know? And our brain doesn't just produce DMT, it produces 5 mexophy, 5-MeO, medroxy, 5-MeO DMT as well. Is it 5-methoxy DMT? Like, I'm gonna have to go and research again. So, like, both of the most powerful psychedelics in our entire world is being produced right now in our brains. And we don't know why. Even if it does nothing, that is astounding. We're moving into the age where we kind of have to use this information as well now. That's the real thing. That's the craziest part about it for me. Because not only will we have more and more research being done about this fact, the fact that our brains are constantly producing this thing that is technically an ultra hallucinogenic. And yet, the way we perceive our world, we think of as coherent because I believe we get used to the amounts that our brain produces. And then it becomes the new normal, right? Like, think about a child and the amount of awe and fascination they have for the world and the way that they can look at like a single thing, constantly. And you think about someone in a psychedelic state of mind, you can almost see like some sort of correlation with that. And what I believe that is it's an upregulation of DMT being released in the brain, the body, and then as a result of that, it like creates this novelty experience from the things that you're witnessing. And as a result of this novelty, it like inspires this awe, like, oh wow, like, oh, this is amazing. And like it gets dull. It gets dull, but it gets dull so slowly that it's almost imperceivable because it's still there. It's just not there in the normal quantities that it's supposed to be there. And with these studies, and with what we found, and with what we know now about our human ability to upregulate genes, we can quite literally start to empower humanity to produce with their own bodies enough chemicals to not only experience life more fully, but maybe even like level up our consciousnesses. Yeah, it's a little bit much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Our brains require such little electricity compared to a processor computer. That's the craziest part about it. It's super efficient. It's super duper efficient, and yet still eats like 30% of our energy needs. The THC is only gonna allow you to be more you. Exactly, friend. Like, that is something that they're now finding about this new study about the amount of DMT that's being released in our brains. Like, these things could potentially not do anything. Not in themselves. But as a result of our DMT makeup of inside of our own brains, it could maybe stimulate the release of them. So it could be an antagonist for DMT release. It's crazy. Like, I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen with this knowledge. Human beings are gonna transcend, I'm sure. The universal magic number is fine. You're right, friend. Started treating objects. Start treating objects like women, man. Start treating objects like women? Like now I'm conscious. Now I'm really conscious. So like with that as a saying, as something that you've now introduced into my field of feeling, like I'm feeling like I should be more gentle with this glass as well, right? And I should move it with intention. Man, you've just added a new filter, or a possible filter at least. My day is taking me away from all of you. I hope you all have a great day, and my thoughts will be with you. Until the flip side, peace and love. Peace and love to you, Yater. Thank you so much for being here with us. You were speaking about fractals, so I mentioned the divine ratio. And I appreciate you doing that, friend. Like, it was a necessary distraction. The heart is a more powerful magnet than your mind. Magnet, huh? So, technically, anything that has current flowing through it produces a magnetic charge as well. So, you might actually be literally right. Quite literally, the magnet might be a more powerful magnet. We do, they have found this as well, have like basically neurons within inside of our hearts. Or at least cells that work together in a way where they basically act as neurons. And the same goes for our guts. Maybe that's a little bit of a hectic word. Our digestive tract. That's where the whole word of the gut feeling comes from. Something's happening in the house. Hmm. Divine mind. I don't think I'm supposed to understand. I'm trying to understand something that I feel is a little bit beyond me. I don't want to accept that. Don't want to accept it. Energy through matter creates electricity, and electricity through matter creates electromagnetism. Yeah, as I was saying, friend. I do know that. So, I do understand what you mean with the heart being a stronger magnet than the mind. In that way, our mind does give off magnetic waves as well. Quite literally, our minds can be perceived or influenced or detected outside of our skulls. Right? This is something that's been proven. So if that is already the reality, where does it stop? If I hold something in my mental mind, and this is especially why I chose to kind of hold this idea of divine mind. How does the things, the perspectives, the feelings that I hold within inside of my own mind field influence that divine mind, that whole mind, that something that is larger than myself? And as a result of my influence, does it co-create with me as well? I like to believe so. Right? Otherwise, what would be the point? Love you all. Hey, Space Rocker Burb. Thank you for being here with us, friend. How have you been? Nice profile pic. It's a piece of art made by a friend of ours called Toasty. I am super grateful for it. Like yeah, I can't imagine. Can't imagine how much feeling can be just captured in like a drawing like that as well. How someone can see something in you and then express it in a way like that. It can make you feel that thing, even though it's a complete representation of you, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm not that actual little lion, and yet something within that little lion picture was captured and can still be like felt after the fact. So with that, out of the way, if you will, how far does that go? Right? Are we in the same way an expression of God? Because that's what I do believe already. Like, we're divine, individualized expressions of God, or of the universe, if you will, of source, whatever word you want to attach to it. So with that knowing, we get to like express these beautiful qualities that God would, appreciate the most, that can be recognized within other beings as that divine. And how do we use our own minds to really kind of like tune into that divine message? Whatever it may be. Maybe it's a moment to moment thing. I feel it really is. Like, it's this line that you're kind of walking, and you can always veer like one side or the other. And depending on which side you veer, you gain, like, it's again a 1 and a 0, if you will. Like, all full light, full white, full darkness, full nothingness, full blackness, completely on, completely off. Woo! My mind is getting grinded, completely melted. I gotta go. Peace and love. Thank you, Liz, for joining us, friend. Wondering if you've remembered me. I do, Henry Lisan. I do remember you, friend. It's been a while since the last time you've been here, though. Can't even remember how long. I do remember you, though. How's life been treating you, friend? How's your work been? How's your family been? How have you been? Do you have a pet? How's your pet been? What have you noticed about humanity as of late that made you happy? What did you see out there in the world that you thought, that's neat? I would love to hear, friends. Like, that's an open question. I'm realizing more and more just how important friendship is to me, but I'm questioning if it's something that is important universally. And I feel like that second that I took to think about it has kind of confirmed to me that, yeah, most of us like having that genuine friendship with someone. That connection, that understanding, that vulnerable sharing of like your most intimate ideas as well. And at the end of the day, not everybody is going to be able to resonate with those things. And attachment to that like outcome, like, everybody has to resonate with the things that I feel and the things that I see in my life and the things that I understand for myself. No attachment. As the Buddhists say, right? Attachment leads to suffering at the end of the day. 1 or 0, dark or light. Why does it matter? Would it matter if I know the truth or even think about it? That's the thing as well, friend. Like, at the end of the day, we're just exploring, human consciousness. And the things that I induce into myself, be it, this question that I keep asking myself now. Like, I'm really thinking divine mind, divine mind, divine mind, divine mind. What is divine mind? How is divine mind? Where is divine mind? How much of divine mind? And it's like, it's beating me down because I'm coming up empty with questions, like answers. I feel like sometimes I have answers to things if inside of my own consciousness, but I feel with this one, I'm pulling some blanks. I don't know. Mr. Smitey says, hello everyone. Nice to see everyone's positivity. Really helps my perspective throughout the day. Hey, thank you for being here, friend. Thank you for sharing some of your positivity with us at the end of the day. Ooh, I appreciate it. Like you friends that share positivity with me, it makes me so happy. Just to see, like, even though we have the capacity, because we're anonymous, we might never actually see one another, to be, hurtful, to be mean, if you will, because, right? Like, there's gonna be like a one interaction, I'm gonna do this thing because I feel this way, usually about yourself, and then it's gonna be done. I'm not going to have to pay the consequences for something like that. Man, I'm getting so cold. Woo-wee. Anyway, and even though with that knowledge, choosing to still go out of their way to do the opposite of that, make someone smile, make someone's day, share some positivity. And just as we continue to do this, I believe the world doesn't like it, and inevitably it has to become a better place. Like there's no other way. Where are you from? Just curious. I've dropped by a couple of times, and I'm curious about where you are from. And by the way, your divine mind is just a part of the collection. I do know, friend. I'm not saying my mind is divine. I'm like asking the question about the divine mind. Like my understanding of things, at least one understanding of things for me, is that if we are created by source, by love, by consciousness, by God, we would have been created not in the way that we create when we take a tree and turn it into furniture, not in the way that a man and a woman comes together, procreate, and create a baby, but mentally, as we can create as well, right? With the imagination. Because God wouldn't need something, or source, or the universe wouldn't need something outside of itself to be the universe. Otherwise, it wouldn't be, right? And it wouldn't need some other thing to come from like external to like do something to it to be the universe either, or to be God. So the only way it can be is to be in this like divine mind way. And yeah, like it's up to that understanding that I get, and then I feel like I lose grip. I lose the grip. Recently, it's been really tough. It feels like I've hit rock bottom, and it's not getting any better, no matter how hard I try. And I don't really want to continue this expression of human consciousness. I don't want to turn down the mood though, so sorry. No, friend. Like, don't ever apologize for expressing your pure and your true self. Because this is a part of our expression as well, friend. Like, feeling these ways. And, like, at the end of the day, this is not me justifying that I know how you feel, but I've been depressed and I've tried to commit suicide. So I know what that feeling of feeling like this life that I'm living isn't worth living. Like, me dying isn't going to change anything. Nobody is going to care. People are just going to go on with their lives. And the sad reality of it, if I were to die today, sure, people are going to be sad, but then they're going to continue on with their lives. And like, I was constantly telling myself, like, because this is so, like, the whole scientific logic used as a battering ram to hurt myself, like, because you feel this way and because you understand this thing about how the world works, what does it matter if you live or not? And like, that was such a negative story that I was telling myself at the end of the day. I was constantly telling myself that over and over and over and over again. And of course, like, if that doesn't lead you to these feelings, then there's something wrong with you as well. And then when I realized that the stories that I told others, not just about myself, but about them as well, could influence in the way that they experience life. And like, I feel as soon as that really clicked for me, everything changed. It wasn't about me anymore. Like, it doesn't matter if life continues after I die, because it's not about me. It's about everything else, right? I'm supposed to give myself to this world, this life, this. experience, if I shy away from it, if I try and take it away from myself, be it that I feel negative and want to end that negative feeling, that is me robbing something of the universe, of the divine mind, of this experience, right? It's, yeah. I'm sorry. Let's get deep, friend. Let's go, dude. You're loved. You're so loved. That's why you're here. At the end of the day, again, in this divine mind idea that I hold, if you weren't thought about, like literally think about you thinking about someone else in a loving way, that is something that's taxing to do. You can't constantly think about someone. Oh, I love this person. I love this person. I love this person. I love this person. Like, think about just doing that. You would literally be stunting yourself to do anything else in the day. And yet, that's what's being done for you. Because here you are. Oh, you only have to just move on it. You only have to just move on it. I don't know what that means, friend, but thank you as well. Probably hard to thank you. It's hard. I understand. It is hard, friend. How do you stop feeling that way? I have explained as much of my way of feeling about it as possible. Hey, is it cool if I melt here? Dude, I'll pull you up a cushion. Like, light my joint for you and pass it to you, friend. Melt right in, dude. Join us. How do you stay in such a positive mood? So much, it seems like you are constantly on drugs. From comment. No, friend. No. Drugs aren't going to make you happy at the end of the day. And yeah, like, for me at this point, the reason that I partake of stuff like this is because I have such a profound enjoyment for life and for the way that these things can influence the way that I process ideas and the way that I choose to express myself and feel about things, that I pursue that as a, like a means of intellectual communication. But I'm not happy all the time either, friend. Like, I've cried on stream a bunch of times. I've had bad days a bunch of times. It's like literally just this story that I tell myself at the end of the day. When I get into like this depressive mood, I realize that it's this story that I tell myself, and I kind of just stop that. I don't think of myself as I'm gonna like be in a positive mood all the time. I regulate the things that I put into my consciousness, the way that I feel about them, and then how I kind of place worth upon that. Because I realized that for a lot of my life experience, I was either in fear of things or in judgment of things, right? Very rarely did I have like a feeling of just neutral love and forgiveness for things when they're not in the way that I wanted them to be. And when I made that shift in understanding about my own life experience, it just it helps, friend. It doesn't mean that I'm always happy, but it helps a lot. What's up, man? Extreme. It's been a while since I've seen you, friend. Man, I'm melting, dude. Like, I feel like this might have been the meltiest I've been on stream, dude. I'm completely melting because of this intention that I set. We're trying to understand divine mind, the infinite divine mind. Emotions are energy in motion. That's beautiful, friend. I really love that. What did the world give you in return? The world doesn't have to give me anything in return, friend, because that's not the point. True divinity comes from a place of giving without needing to be received, right? Painting something without needing someone to approve of your painting, making a song without needing someone to approve of the song that you've made, right? That is true divinity. Being able to express yourself, do the thing that you feel is true to your soul, regardless of whether or not the world is going to praise you, break you down, or be completely neutral towards it. I think that is the only way, friend. Emotions are energy in motion. You were doing so awesome. Thank you, friend. My guy. Hey. Craig Rory. Craig Gregory. Maybe Craig Gregory. What a name, friend. How have you been? I feel like I don't think I've said your name out loud even once. So it's nice to meet you, Gregory. I'm going to get stoned. That's a good idea, dude. Dude, joining me on this 420 frequency. I don't know if that's the only frequency I'm tuning into right now, because I feel like I'm trying to understand something for which I don't have the words to express. And I'm trying to, like I'm desperately clawing at the words that I know, but they're a little bit blunt. If you could be an animal, what would it be and why? So that's a good question, friend, and I like it's a multifaceted one for me as well, because I believe a bunch of different things about the way that I feel about my own energy. Right? I believe that I have butterfly aspects when it comes to my fluidity in moving from things, from one thing to another, be it from a conversation, be it from like meeting people, like in that way. Then I also believe that I can be very bullish in nature. With me being a Taurus, that's literally the only attachment that I'll add to that. Just bullish in nature. So hard headed, strong. Then also the whole lion thing, because I have this mane on my face, would be pretty sick being a strong as lion as well. But if I would like choose a power where I could snap my fingers and turn into something, I'd probably turn into like an Australian eagle, like one of those 3 meter wingspan eagles or something. So yeah, because I'm flying, of course, and for me to be able to kind of just like take off into the air and go and land anywhere and just get that as a perspective whenever I want to, sounds like a vibe. Dum 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 dum. Is happy your goal? I don't have any goal other than the betterment of mankind, friend. Like this is something that like constantly resonates with me as well. This friend that I was talking about at the beginning of stream, when he came over the last time, we were having this conversation about like what we want for the world, and he said something like, "Be careful what you wish for because you usually get it." And my answer to that was like, I wish for the welfare, for the wellness of all mankind. That's the word. I wish for the wellness or prosperity or just, you know, greatest outcome of humanity. And if I can do something in my life, in my day, in the middle of nowhere, to bring a smile, to share an idea, to feel something with another person, that is the goal at the end of the day, friend. Not to just be happy. Being only happy is also not something that is sustainable or realistic. If you could be, worried about one. Do you believe in the law of attraction? Yeah, to a point. I don't believe that I can sit here and meditate with the law of attraction in mind and just expect, there like a whole city to build around me. No, can't expect that. But if I, take all of the steps to kind of do the things that I need to do to meet the people that I need to do, need to meet, and to make the money that I need to make to build a city where I'm sitting right now, that is something that I could do. And with the law of attracting myself to situations, to people, to skill sets that would allow that to be a reality in that way, yes, I do. In the end, it's just another plant that grows here on Mother Earth. Yes, friend, you are so right. It is. It literally is. Like, it's no more strange to do than drinking a coffee or eating something that has sugar in it. Eating something in general, it's you consuming plant. Like, this is something we've established as something that humans do. I don't know why, it's something that's weird. Like, with that logic, beer is significantly weirder than anything else we do. Goes through like weird fermentation processes. You're like letting a creature eat something and then turning it into ethanol for you to drink that ethanol. Yeah. Craig Gregory. I'm doing great, man. Love your streams. And I love you, friend. Thank you for sharing love with me. I appreciate it so much. Nicely put, bro. Thank you for being this open. Thank you for asking hard questions. Arpan is boring me. Thank you, friend. I appreciate that as well. Edmund, you made it. You made it, friend. Like I was thinking about you when I was looking at that little, what do you call them? Ladybug. As I was setting up the stream, a little ladybug came and landed on me. And I was like, oh, hello, little sir. Took a picture and then I blew him off. It was such a wholesome moment. Words very often fall short. Exactly, friend. Exactly. Unfortunately, words are hard, dude, and lacking in their amount of expression, because a word can mean one thing to me and I can have like this whole slew of experience attached to that word where you could not have any of that. For instance, like we had one friend, Alex, who has been like skating, right? Like ice skating basically his whole life. Like he literally has an ice skating like makeshift ring in his backyard during the cold days. So this dude like ice skates gang. So when he says the word, "Oh, yeah, I really like skating." Like in that just that like little sentence, he has a whole slew of life experience attached to that word skating. Where me, I've skated like twice or three times in my entire life. So I have like this limited experience. So like, yeah, I like skating. I mean, it's fine. His I like skating is significantly more vast in scope than my I like skating. So in that knowing, words have a very hard time really like betraying the full idea that someone is trying to express, because I have this whole bank of experience attached to the words that I use, and the more that you use them at the end of the day, the more experience and the more feeling gets attached to them as well. That's what Meltmore is like starting to do to me. It's like this experience, a type of experience. Feel things and feel things, and then you feel things about the things you feel, and you feel things about the things that you feel, and you feel. Oh man, if you could change places for 1 hour with one person, who would it be? Yo, that's a little bit yikes, dude. Like, I kind of like went through a whole slew of scenarios, and I kind of came down to, oh man, I don't even want to say it, dude. Like, I think it's a little bit hectic. No, it might like actually be like a little bit too hectic to talk about. Trigger warning a little bit. Not not in like a harm way, but in a lack of experience way. So, someone that has no senses, but still is conscious of that. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk any any more about it. It's a little bit much. If you could, yeah. What is it with freedom? People crave it. Uh, People crave for it, but unconsciously, we all want to hide behind the comfort of not being responsible. What's your view on freedom? In the end, are we free at all in our vices, responsibilities, and impulses? On the other hand, so like in a sentence, dude, I believe discipline is a real freedom. When you do something with a discipline, you do something for a reason and you can do it consistently with that reason in mind. And you kind of move towards that as a practice, right? You show up to do it. That is where true freedom, I feel, lies in it for me. Because you realize that you're the one being disciplined and taking the steps that you're supposed to be taking. And then with that knowledge, you can kind of let yourself be truly free. I'm so freaking cold. I'm so freaking cold. Divine Mind, heat me up, please. So I quite literally asked to be heated up. And I'm thinking about what it would feel like if I was warmer. Mm, I think as men, society has so many expectations from us, and we are judged for showing the soft side of us. Speaking of that, how do you deal with people's expectations or judgments of you? It's a good question. Both of them are good questions. And what you're saying is true to a large extent, friend. I think I have almost like taken it upon myself as well to just be the opposite of that stereotype, you know. Like that's the only thing we can truly do in that case is to just still be soft, still show our experiences, still show our true emotions. And it can be difficult sometimes, like especially when you're in a environment with other masculine identified individuals, and as a result of that they kind of write off your expression or your want to express when you feel hurt about something. And at the end of the day, that is an expectation of them as well, you know, for you to be in one way or another, and a judgment of you as well for being in a way that they don't approve of, right? And at the end of the day, all you can do is realize that they can't take anything away from you, all right? In their judgments, in their expectations, they can't take away the great gift of your awareness. And like their judgments is literally something that you become aware of. So it is within this infinite field of awareness where there's this small thing that is this judgment. And attaching yourself, you know, your well being to this small little thing that is the judgment, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Here's a joke. What do you call a kid with no arms and no legs? Call him names. That's horrible, friend. Oh, man. That's horrible, dude. Why would you say that? Why would you say that, dude? I'm married to a Taurus. I've won only 2 arguments in 20 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see, like that is one part of my nature that I'm trying to be very aware and conscious of as well, because I know that I don't know everything. That is something I'm aware of. Difficult, dude. Like tell your significant other like know that you don't know everything, and they're gonna be like, but I know a lot though. I do know a lot of things, but you don't know everything. But I know a lot. You're gonna see that's what's gonna happen. I do love our little friends in nature. They're everywhere. Like I'm curious about the birds that stay during these times as well. There's this one bird species that are these big ish blackbirds, and they have a really interesting call. And I just noticed, oh no, that is not the same bird. There's a bunch of them. Absolute little gifts. Beings I get to spend time with. I saw you dancing last night. You seem like a cool dude. I'm happy that you approve, friend. Yeah, I was dancing. Your last night, my this morning. Ladybugs are good luck bugs. I feel like this stream, I kind of needed some good luck to kind of come out on the other end unscathed, if you will. Do you think living in nature in SA helps in the way you are living life as opposed to busy city life like New York City, for example? So I used to live in Shanghai, friend. So yeah, I feel in some ways I'm not the same person that I was when I was still living in Shanghai, dude. Like I'm not sure if it's necessarily the place that it is I'm living in, or the contrast of that, or just, you know, a natural step in the way that we feel about things or the way that we perceive life. I don't believe in like a one enlightenment that kind of like kicks you off, and then life is just handy dandy, like sunshine and rainbows always and forever. No. This is something that me and my friend kind of disagree about. I believe there's like a 40%, 60% nature to the bad 40% and the good 60%. But I also hold the understanding that life is like a sine wave, right? This constant flow of like back and forth, 50-50 at the end of the day. There is going to be resistance, there's going to be sad days, there's going to be loss, there's going to be feelings of lack, there's going to be self-doubt, and there's also going to be all the opposites of that. Static feelings of like self-confidence, of understanding, of control, of feeling like you have a place, and like having that almost like back and forth just creates such a beautiful contrast for you to really appreciate what it is you have. Looks gloomy. It is pretty dark at the moment, friend. Cheers, brother. Lighting up with you now. What was your intention? The intention was divine mind. On the Garrick, or the paper itself, technically, we've written divine mind. And every single time I've been smoking, and then afterwards as well, I'm holding this idea of divine mind. It is taxing, to say the least. Melting me. Completely melting me. What do you have to deal with it? What do you have to deal with it? What do I have to deal with? What exactly, friend? Looks gloomy, is what you asked before. I have a light to deal with the gloominess, I guess. My brother, big instructor. Obstruction. Hey, friend, how have you been? It's nice to see you again. I love your hair. Thank you, Chaos Blooming. It grows this way, right out of my head. What was Shanghai like? Any tips if I go? Like, I lived in a pretty rough part of Shanghai, so I am going to be a little bit negatively biased. But Shanghai has a lot of great places as well. Like, stay in the places that are great is my is my tips for you if you want to go to Shanghai. Like, it has a lot of beauty to it, but also some, just the class differences. You realize it very surreally in China. It's so well structured. It's crazy. Like, if I can tell you a little bit, I was working with like teacher assistants. So a teacher that basically just helps me translate things in Chinese for the kids to understand the words I'm trying to teach them. And with their like job being like just that, it's like they spend like maybe 5 minutes in class actually working, and then they're also like making sure the kids behave. And like all of the teachers I was teaching with had like engineering degrees, but they were so desperate to get into like the city life, get into Shanghai, that they like literally got paid 5,000 RMB, which is about 10,000 rand, which is about $750, give or take $750 a month. Engineering degree students like teaching English in the city. It like literally broke my heart. I was like, this is not something that's okay. Like, this country, like I was thinking about this like as China. This country has so many like brilliant people that can't find work in the fields that they've studied for, and are like willing to kind of live below their means just to be in the city because it is what is like propagated as the ideal. Yeah, it's a loaded subject as well. Thank you, bro. I enjoy talking to you, hearing your opinions. I followed, and I hope to talk to you another day. Peace to you. Peace to you as well, my friend. I'll see you again. Turn around. Are those clouds are dark as they look to us? They are kind of dark. Like, I mean, It has to do with the exposure as well, but they're not that dark. It's also getting late where he is. It is. And on that note, Edmund, thank you, friends. Thank you so much for joining me for this entire stream. Like, I know this was a difficult one. Like, I felt like it was a difficult one for me to keep up with most of the time as well. Love and light to you. I appreciate your strength, your patience, your commitment to it as well. I'll see you again tomorrow, everyone.